I want to see all the response. So I can say in get mapping all users. Okay. I can simply say all users, and in this way I can say get all users. So here I'll write user repository dot find all user. Find all. You can see we have one method find all. We will use this, and what it is returning? It is returning iterable user forms. I just copy it. Instead of a string, I will write iterable user form, and then we don't need to write this API message. Simply I can return it here. Return. This is all that we need to write. User repository dot find all, and then it will automatically return this user form. Save this, and then we can run it again. Okay, so we have to run user application. Let's see if it is working or not. That means right now if you will compare with user DAO, you don't need to write insert things. So let's say here we have add user, right? Where is add user? So in case of add user, you have to write these all things, right? Insert into table name and these all things. But in case of JPA, you don't need to do anything. You can simply call the method. That's it. Here also I am just calling the method, which is inbuilt method, and this is created. Now let's go and create one more entry here. So I'll create a new request, and the request name is, let's say I can say add all users, something like that, and then we'll give the name. So let me just copy this URL and put it here. Now I'll say the URL all users. Let me copy it and paste it here. Localhost 80 user API and then all users. This is get request, so we don't need to change anything. Simply save it and then send the request. So now you can see output. In the response, we are getting first row and then we have second row. So all the data we are getting here in the form of JSON. And this is used, post is used to create a new record, get is used to fetch the record. So here we are getting all the record, all the users. Similar to that, we have already inbuilt method. Let's say if you want to get a specific user, that particular thing also you can get. So let's say I can say instead of all users, I can say here get user. Simply I can say get user, and then I want to pass some ID. So if you want to pass ID, you have to write in curly braces. Now in this case, we will get data and then you have to return it. So what method we will use? From here I will say find by ID. Find all, no, find all not, we will use find by ID. And here we'll have to pass the ID. So this is method name. Let's say I can say get user by ID, some name. Now whenever you will pass the data in the URL, in that case here you have to use @path variable, and this will by default will be in the form of a string. So you have to write a string ID. That means whenever user will send here 1, 2, 3 or any value, then that value will be available in this variable, and then you have to convert this into integer dot parseInt ID. So this will return. Simply click on change method. Right? So you can say find by ID, and now it will return optional user form. That's all you have to make change. We will copy this thing to the front end and then we'll see that to the postman. Let's close it and then we can run it. We have to only write the basic logic, basic thing that what you want to perform with database. Table is also created, right? Table is also created using by adding @entity. Now, if you are using repository, current repository, in that case, everything is already available. Insert, update, delete, all things will already available. Let me just duplicate it. And then I'll rename it with find user by I. Okay, and then here I can say this is our URL. So I'll just change this URL. API get users, and then here you have to pass the user ID. So let's say if I give 7, and then this is get request, so we can simply run it. Now you can see if you are passing 7, then you are getting only data for 7. If I get 8, then we will get data 8. Let's say if I give 9, in that case what it will do? We will get 9. That means data is not available. So you can see this is pretty forward. This is a very simple thing to do using API.